Most drivers assume their battery dies because it's getting old. But mechanics often see something very different. The battery can weaken quietly even when the car is parked, and it usually fails at the moment you least expect, like early morning when the engine barely turns over. Small drains, charging issues, and simple habits can slowly damage a battery long before it reaches the end of its lifespan. According to research from the U.S. Department of Energy and battery health firm Recurrent, modern vehicle battery failures due to system breakdowns are under. Today we're cutting through the myths and focusing on the real causes behind sudden battery failure, along with practical steps that may help reduce the chances of getting stranded. If you want more simple, safe, and useful car care tips, feel free to subscribe for future videos. Now let's get started. Reason number 1. Parasitic drain. Parasitic drain is one of the most common reasons a battery dies unexpectedly, and most drivers never notice it happening. It starts with small electrical components that keep drawing power even when the car is completely off. Mechanics often find things like a glove box light that stays on, a trunk light that doesn't switch off, a stuck relay, or an aftermarket accessory that keeps pulling current all night. These tiny drains don't kill the battery instantly. They weaken it slowly, leaving you with a sluggish crank or a dead start by morning. The tricky part is that these issues hide in the background, so the battery looks fine during the day but loses strength when parked. Checking interior lights, ensuring doors shut fully, and having a technician test for unexpected current draw can help catch the problem early. But this isn't the only silent culprit draining your battery. The next reason surprises even experienced drivers. Reason number 2. Short trips. Short daily trips are tougher on a car battery than most drivers realize. When you start your engine, the battery uses a strong burst of power, but if you only drive a few minutes, the alternator doesn't get enough time to replace what was used. Mechanics often see perfectly good batteries weakened simply because the driver's routine involves quick stops, school runs, or short commutes. Over time, the battery ends up operating at a lower state of charge, which makes it more vulnerable to cold mornings, heat, or small electrical drain. A battery maintainer, occasional longer drives, and avoiding multiple rapid start-stop cycles can help maintain healthier voltage. Many drivers think their battery is bad when it's actually undercharged, but short trips aren't the only everyday habit that reduces battery life. What comes next affects drivers in every climate. Reason number 3. Extreme weather. Extreme temperature swings can quietly shorten battery life, even if the battery looks new. Cold weather reduces the battery's ability to deliver the power needed for starting, which is why engines often crank slower on winter mornings. On the other hand, hot weather can speed up internal chemical wear, causing the battery to lose capacity faster over time. Mechanics frequently notice batteries failing right after a heat wave or during the first cold snap of the season. Parking in shade, using a garage when possible, and having the battery tested during seasonal changes can help reduce stress on it. Drivers often misjudge weather's impact because the symptoms appear later, not immediately. But temperature is still only part of the story. The next reason involves a component many drivers assume is always working correctly. Reason number 4. Weak charging system. A battery relies on the alternator and charging system to stay healthy, and when that system weakens, the battery pays the price. A worn belt, slipping pulley, loose connection, or aging alternator can all lead to reduced charging output. Mechanics often spot dim headlights, flickering interior lights, or a battery warning light as early signs of trouble. If the alternator can't keep the battery at proper voltage, the battery ends up doing more work than it should, eventually weakening or failing. Cleaning terminals, checking belt tension, and having the charging system tested during routine service can help catch issues early. Many drivers replace the battery when the real problem started elsewhere. And the next reason is even more overlooked, because it hides right in plain sight under the hood. Quick pause. If these tips help you out, consider subscribing for more quick beginner-friendly car advice. Reason number 5. Corroded or loose terminals. Corroded or loose battery terminals can interrupt proper power flow, and many drivers overlook this simple issue. When corrosion builds up, it creates resistance that weakens starting power and prevents the alternator from fully charging the battery. Mechanics often find white or blue buildup around the terminals, or a ground connection that isn't tight enough to deliver consistent current. Even a slightly loose clamp can cause intermittent electrical problems, leaving the driver thinking the battery itself is failing. Cleaning the terminals carefully, tightening the connections, and checking for damaged cables can help restore proper flow. This small step makes a big difference because a battery can only perform well if the electrical path is clean and secure. But terminals aren't the only reason a battery struggles. Sometimes the battery simply reaches the end of its natural lifespan, and the signs are easy to miss. Reason number 6. Natural battery aging. Even with good care, every battery eventually wears out. Most of them last a few years depending on driving habits, climate, and maintenance. As the internal materials age, the battery gradually loses its ability to hold a charge, leading to slow cranks or random failures after the car sits overnight. Mechanics often see drivers caught off guard because the battery seemed fine one day and weak the next. Testing voltage regularly and paying attention to slower starts can help catch aging early. Replacing a worn battery before it fails completely reduces the risk of being stranded at an inconvenient time. Many drivers wait until the battery dies completely, but aging parts rarely fail on a schedule. And even though aging is natural, there's another issue many don't expect. Something that happens before the engine even turns over. Using a trickle charger or battery maintainer is one of the most effective ways to keep the voltage stable, especially if the vehicle sits for days or weeks at a time. Mechanics often recommend these maintainers because they prevent the slow discharge that weakens a battery over months. Testing the battery monthly with a simple voltmeter can also reveal early signs of trouble, giving you time to act before the battery reaches a critically low state. Cleaning the terminals and ensuring every connection is tight helps the alternator deliver a proper charge, since even a small amount of corrosion can create resistance. Avoiding rapid back-to-back short trips reduces strain because the alternator needs time to replace the power used during each startup. Another smart habit is turning off interior lights, headlights, chargers, and accessories before shutting down the engine, which helps prevent unnoticed drains overnight. Inspecting the alternator belt for cracks, glazing, or looseness ensures the charging system runs efficiently. Many mechanics see batteries fail simply because the belt slipped without anyone realizing it. And if you've ever been stranded because the battery died at the worst possible moment, hit like because you're definitely not the only one. But even with good habits in place, a battery almost always gives warnings before it fails completely. If you know what to look for now, warning signs the battery is about to fail. A weakening battery rarely fails without sending early signals, and recognizing these signs can save you from getting stuck at the wrong time. One of the most common warnings is when the engine cranks slower than usual, taking a moment longer to fire up. Mechanics often notice drivers mentioning that it sounded different this morning, which is a clue. Another sign is a rapid clicking noise when turning the key or pressing the start button, showing the battery doesn't have enough power to engage the starter properly. The dashboard may also show a battery or charging system warning light, which suggests the system needs attention. Flickering headlights, dim interior lighting, or a screen that resets or glitches during startup can point to inconsistent voltage. Some drivers even notice power windows moving slower than normal or their radio resetting to factory presets. Another strong sign is when the car struggles to start after sitting overnight, especially during cold weather, since low temperatures reveal weak batteries more quickly. Mechanics encourage drivers to treat any unusual electrical behavior as a gentle warning rather than waiting for a complete failure. Paying attention to these small changes makes it easier to test the battery, inspect the charging system, and avoid a sudden breakdown when you least expect. Final thoughts. A car battery may be small, but it plays a major role in keeping the entire vehicle running smoothly. Understanding what really causes battery failure helps drivers avoid the sudden stressful moments when the engine refuses to start. By watching for early warning signs, maintaining clean connections, avoiding habits that drain power, and giving the charging system the attention it needs, you can keep your battery healthier for much longer. Mechanics often say that most battery problems are preventable with simple routines that take only a few minutes each month. Whether it's using a maintainer, inspecting the belt, or paying attention to how your car sounds each morning, these small steps add up to a much more reliable driving experience. If today's breakdown helped you learn something new or gave you a better understanding of how your battery behaves, consider subscribing for more easy, beginner-friendly car tips. Feel free to comment your car model below and I can share battery care suggestions specific to your vehicle. Thanks for watching and stay ready, your car will thank you for it.